to all the times you used to dread going into school the next day when United had either won a title or they beat you, they beat Liverpool. And if you're getting a draw against United, you're arguing the fact that we had more shots. Those were the days where we didn't really have nothing to celebrate.
Hi everyone, welcome to an episode of Beating the Press with myself, Ty, and my co-host Kristian. So this week's episode, we're gonna talk about Liverpool, obviously winning the Premier League for the first time in forever. How's your week been?
I've had worse weeks. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest. Still can't really take it in. It's like very surreal. Like it hasn't sunk in yet.
I mean, we were always going to win it. The only thing that was going to beat us was going to be the virus.
Yeah.
Once we started playing again, we were going to be all right. And then it was just getting over that line. Do you know what I mean? Just getting those 3-4 points, whatever we need. And then, do you know? And obviously when we beat Palace, I thought we were brilliant. I had the fake crowd noise, and I think like everyone else did. It felt like watching it. It just felt like a good, really good Liverpool performance. Intensity was high, ball speed was good. Mm-hmm. We had our strongest 11 out, and the full-backs were obviously hugely influential. I mean, the Everton team was just half-assed. I mean, it was like a right mishmash. We made 5 substitutions, players were all over joint. But I just felt that there was more rhythm to our game, more balance to our team, and it was just like the Liverpool of the last couple of years. And Palace couldn't live with this. And then the whole question came about, we could win it the next day. It was the next day, wasn't it, when Man City played the next day? And it was like, we can win it next day if Man City fuck it up.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, I texted you and asked you whether you wanted City to get beat so that we could win it on that day, or would you rather win it via us winning against City at the Etihad?
I mean, I think you know what my reply was. It was, we were always going to win it, and I was just, the Liverpool Man City game is going to be huge, regardless if we've got a title. We're going to be the best 2 teams for the next few years. We're going to be fighting for the title for the next few years. I don't see anyone else catching up.
Yeah.
So the game the following week was always going to be important anyway. Regardless, I mean, if we've won the league anyway, that's not really going to make a difference. And I was like, we've waited long enough. Just if Man City fuck it up tomorrow, I'll happily take it. Do you know what I mean? And then I actually had training, and then on the way back, I'm like, Chelsea are 1-up. I'm like, fuck's sake, I better get back in. And then they've equalised. I'm like, let's get back for the last bit. And then and then Willian obviously scores, and we're the champions.
I initially believed that I wanted City to come through with the win, just so we could beat them at the Etihad.
Yeah.
But as soon as Chelsea scored, I was Jose Mourinho sliding across the floor, and it like almost brought home what I really wanted to happen. Yeah. Obviously, the logic is that my logic initially was that I wanted us to win it on the pitch, just so you can see the emotion of the players, and just so you can have that the expression of maybe Klopp running onto the pitch, because obviously we're not going to do it in front of the fans and what have you, but. I just wanted that, but as soon as the second goal went in with Willian, you start to get a bit choked up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, when they won it, when we beat we beat Barcelona last year in the semi-final, and that was just sheer joy, elation, emotion. Do you know what I mean? And you just like you're reaching for the clouds. You're on sort of 7th heaven sort of thing. The game against Chelsea when we became champions, it was different. It was emotional. It was like I had a tear in my eye, and it's so weird to explain. And I mean, and it's weird going through. I mean, when Klopp was on the interview and he started crying, and I was like, that is exactly how I feel. Do you know what I mean? And Jurgen Klopp would never, he's won the Champions League, he's won every, he doesn't cry. It's not his. But you could just see Henderson the same. It almost felt like the weight of the last sort of, I don't want to say 30 years. I'd say more like the sort of last 10 years. When we've always been sort of close. We finished second, a couple of times. We've nearly done it, and we felt like we had a team that was good enough to win it, but just didn't win it. Mm-hmm. And this was the moment that Klopp and the team had to overcome. This was like last year when they didn't make it. I think me and you both, we just knew it was such a monumental blow to come back from that, because I thought they'd won it. I thought last year was they were going to win it. It was the moment, but they were up and against a phenomenal team. But for them to come back from that and then go again, I think the emotional roller coaster continued into this year, and that was probably part of it as well, with the whole sort of getting teary-eyed, you know what I mean, with Klopp, and it's like, man, fuck, we beat them across East Lancs Road, you know what I mean, and I'm finally got over the line, and people can fuck off with that thing, oh, we haven't won it for 30 years. It's like, it was still the Division 1, it was still, just because they've renamed it, it's still the same thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just, you know, obviously social media just went bonkers with it all, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. What about yourself?
Well, I'd be lying if I say I'd be lying if I said it was as special as it could have been. Like, it was amazing. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, like I say, I wanted that hole in front of the fans, like everybody else. Like for example, to a United or a City fan or a Chelsea fan, they're probably reveling in the fact that we didn't actually get to win the title in front of our fans, and you know, it was always the asterisk title, as though they put it. So in a way, it did take a bit of the tent off it, you know, but I would take that title every year if it meant that we were going to win that, like we were going to win the Premier League. I mean, last time we won the league was in '89. I think I started supporting Liverpool when I first started playing football, which was in around about '91. And, you know, me complaining that, you know, the fans weren't there and it wasn't exactly how I wanted it is kind of like finally getting to sleep with Margot Robbie. And then next day you're complaining that you didn't see her face. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know.
You've had worse nights.
Yeah, exactly. So you know, I'll take that every day of the week. So yeah, but I was totally fine. Like, I was fine right up until the last minute. Like, obviously when Willian scored the goal, you know, you start to get that realization that we are actually going to do it. You start to think about all the things that have happened in the past. Yeah. You start to go back to, like, Steven Gerrard. You go the slip. You know, obviously that wasn't, I think, that lost us the title, but people will tell you it was. Yeah. You go back to the also nearly moments, and then you go back to when you were a kid, and you think back to all the times you used to dread going into school the next day when United had either won a title or they beat you, they beat Liverpool, and if you're getting a draw against United, you know, you're arguing the fact that, oh, we had more shots. You know, you know, those were the days where, you know, we didn't really have nothing to celebrate, and those are the days where, like, you know, it just brought it back. Everything came tumbling back at once, and I'm thinking of the kids of today, and I'm thinking, you jammy little bastards. You know, you don't know the struggle we had to go through the 90s.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm like you. I think I started supporting them early 90s as well. Weirdly enough, one of my first memories was I was checking the scores. It used to be on CFAX, and they played Norwich. Liverpool played Norwich, and they scored. So Liverpool took the lead, and it were Ian Culverhouse scored an own goal for Norwich, and it had Culverhouse brackets OG, and I didn't know what, you know, and OG. I'm a kid at the time. I'm like, who the fuck's this new player, Culverhouse OG? It's fucking sad, like, what the fuck's that? And then I was like, own goal.
When I used to go to watch the matches, me nan, who I used to live with, she would check the teletext, the results before I came home, just to check, see if I was in a good mood or a bad mood. But that also leads me on to something else. So, me nan, she decided that she was going to surprise me, and she was going to decorate my room in like a football themed room. Now, if you think, like, you know, like 10, 11 year olds, you're absolutely buzzing with it. Like, I walk in the bedroom, I see all these red and white stripes, and I'm thinking, absolutely buzzing. Robbie Fowler poster on the wall, class Liverpool border going all the way around. Thinking, this is the dog's locks. Well done, you've outdone yourselves. Only it was a Manchester United border. It was a Manchester United border. You know what I mean? I didn't have the heart to tell me nan at the time that she got it wrong. I'm like, you know I support Liverpool. Is there something wrong with your eyes? But anyway, I had to stare at that fucking border for about 2 years straight. They'll be spanking us, they'll be finishing 30 points in front of us, and I've got to look at that United trim. Eventually, managed to peel it all off. So it's just like I say, that those are the moments where you think back to, and again, I think that's the reason why I felt like someone was cutting onions in the corner of the room, because it was emotional. It was something that I will remember forever, even under the circumstances that were. You've
absolutely echoed my sentiment there. It's like you'll remember that. Like more Liverpool. I mean, me and you could go. If we're talking the last 30 years, if you pick five moments in Liverpool that really stick in your head, I'd imagine they match. Do you know what I mean? Like you talk the Champions League final, Barcelona last. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that will come. But that last night will definitely be there as well. And you remember where you are and the moments that have happened. And during the 90s and sort of early 2000s, apart from the Champions League, we look back and we sort of think. You try to big your team up as much as you can, but we used to look. I used to look at it. Looking back now, I used to look at Liverpool and other teams through like rose-tinted glasses of like Liverpool are better than what we were.
Yeah.
Like you're saying about Man United, we'd get a draw and we'd bang on about, we've had more shots, or we beat them. Yeah. And then we're like, but then Man United are like 30 points clear and they've dicked the league again, Or we'd be supporting any team that's not Man United, like supporting Blackburn when Man United, do you know what I mean? Or supporting Newcastle when they fucked it up. Do you know what I mean? All those times, and when Arsenal came finally, someone's going to challenge him. Even though you're a Liverpool fan, you're still anyone but Man United.
Exactly, yeah.
And just sort of going through that, and then you sort of build it up, and then we got closer, and then you got Rafa, the Champions League, like it's turning now, it's turning. Yeah. And then the season when it was the fact season, do you know what I mean? This is the fact he got his massive thing out on in the press. So that's another thing people are banging about. Oh, if you didn't get that out, they won the league. No, that's bullshit. They still won it. It's just a press conference. It's got nothing to do with. It's just another way for the press and fans to sort of nail Liverpool with. It had naught to do with the fact that that's why they fucked it up. They fucked it up because they drew too many games that season. That's all it was.
And it's a fact.
And then when Rodgers took over as well, you're thinking, right, it's turning now again. We've had some shit seasons, like real shit. When Dalglish second time round, Hodgson came, we had fucking Konchesky and Christian Poulsen in our team, for fuck's sake. And then then Brendan Rodgers, and then we go back to the Stevie G slip, and it's like, we both know it wasn't a slip, but that again, it's great for the fans and the media to smash Liverpool with, it's a Gerrard, and it's a great headline. Liverpool captain, Liverpool legend falls on his ass, and it's an easy way for them to hit. Just to give Gerrard some stick, and then you go to the fans and there's a song for him. You know what I mean? And people, they still sing it, and it's like, well, Chelsea fans were there singing Liverpool. I'm like, well, since when has that Chelsea become so anti-Liverpool? I mean, I know where it comes from. It comes from those Champions League semi-finals when we fucked them over every time. Well, let's not talk about that. And then it goes back down to, I'm just losing my shit here. So but so it's easy for people to feel. But then when we've won it this time, it's like a massive fucking two fingers up at them saying, "Fuck you, we've won it. We are the best team in the country, probably world as well at the moment." And we have got top players wanting to come to us. Like I always think back about players that left us thinking, we want to move on to bigger teams or better teams. Coutinho moving on and leave Liverpool to win more titles. We won the Champions League, World Club Cup, Premier League. You know what I mean? You've not won the Champions. We knocked you out of the Champions League. You got Suarez leaving. Do you know what I mean? And all these different sort of things, and it's like you should have trusted Klopp because the guy knew what he was doing. I saw. I will let you come in. In a second. I've just got one last point. I'm in the zone. Do you know? I saw a thing on Twitter the other day where it came up with a flash of the first team that Klopp picked. Do you know when he took over? It was away to Spurs. I think there's one player that's still there, and that's Origi. I think it was just the one player.
Yeah. And
I looked and I was like, we just don't realise how big a job he's done. Like the turnover of getting those players in. And it's the whole thing. It's Klopp. I think Michael Edwards is the best recruitment guy in the world, bar none. And then you've got FSG, who are just so focused in what they're doing. They've got a philosophy, a strategy, and they're sticking to it. They're not going nilly-willy and buying random shit. I mean, just an example: Bournemouth sticking to like young British players. That strategy is dog shit. Your Solanke, Jordan Ives, Brad. I mean, we seem to have given all the shit English players, or average English players, and they've just snapped them up, and now they're worth fuck. And like ours is a clear philosophy, strategy of buying young players and good players, regardless of what it is. I mean, the Koulibaly thing came up as well, saying we're not going to buy him because he's 20. We don't buy anyone over 29. That's more than 60 million. You know what I mean, and stuff like that just makes absolute sense. So just the whole club is in the right. We've got the right ownership, right leadership, a phenomenal team, a phenomenal squad that can challenge any team in the world. And yeah, we're in an unbelievably good position. But it's been a long journey. And I think the season, you've got to sort of look at it as it wasn't just this year. It was last year. It's like a combination of, you know what I mean. It's what being built up, and even sort of the it wasn't even last year, it was the back end of the season before.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When we were really gathering momentum and he was just fine tuning it, getting Alisson in, getting Van Dijk in. Do you know, they were the final pieces of the jigsaw. Yeah. It's like little things happening. It's like, yep, brilliant. And I remember when after sort of like early 90s, people kept saying, oh, Liverpool, you know, we used to say it as well, and I was guilty of it, saying, oh, next year will be our year, next year will be our year. Yeah. You know, thinking it's going to be different, but it wasn't. And then you go, would count how many years it's been since we won the league, how many years since it's been, you know, it's like, oh, I mean, that's part of the reason why we used to say next year. Now, the foot is firmly on the other foot. Now, Man United are counting, when's next year's going to be our year? And how many, what is it, 8 years since they won it?
I think it's 7 coming on 8.
Is it? Yeah. 7 coming on 8. See, that's not going to be long before it hits 30. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And they're a long way behind us and Man City at the moment. So, you know, I think they've got a long time of going by without winning the Premier League as well. So I think it's time for them to sit in the stands and just watch the best teams in the league whilst they just try to catch up to.
Yeah. Like it's funny, again, what you're saying there. Like, what the players done last season was ridiculous. They only lost to like an even more ridiculous City team. You know, a team that's had time, a little bit more time to gel under their like manager's philosophy and whatever. But Klopp calls our players mentality monsters. I think was it mentality monsters?
Yeah, mentality monsters, yeah. And
I don't know if you read the statement that he put out in the Echo. Well, it wasn't a statement. It was more of a letter, personal letter to the fans. And in that, I've just brought it up there, and there's a section in there, and he says the mistake would be to focus on. Only on how many points we led by, because I can't think of too many games in which we were not forced to fight for every single inch. In some, we had to dig deep into our souls and find a way. That is exactly right, because I can't remember, other than the Leicester game, where we absolutely dominated the team, where I felt totally comfortable right till the end. Yeah. Mentality monsters is bang on, and I think that's what separates us from United. It separates us from the rest of the team, where you know, you haven't got those players in the right positions, which are mentality monsters that will get you over the line.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, again, that mentality monsters thing, I think it's mad from last season, winning the Champions League, but not winning the league, having gone so close, and then having to go again. You've got to search within yourself to go again. Now, every manager in the league will go, it's the manager does the job. We know we'll it's all about man management. We'll get them going. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We'll support them. We'll really encourage them and just dig them out when we have to. Ultimately, it boils down to the players. The manager can do all that shit, but if the players are not strong mentally, that is not going to happen. They will bottle it when it actually matters. Yeah. Though it's really interesting you mentioned that, you know, about the games that we've played, and I remember it was early in the season. We're winning, and then we played Villa, and I just finished playing footy, and we were 1-0 down. Scored 2 really late. I know you remember when Mane scored late on. And that was the moment I thought, you know what, this team is really, really special. Do you know? And I've said that a few times, and I've said this team is really special. In terms of talent, they've got some phenomenal world class players. I'm on about special as in mentality again, like that. You hear a lot of time. You hear like the top players say what separates like really good players into like world class elite players is the attitude and mentality, and we seem to have a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? You go through the team, and they're just like. I mean, I'm struggling to name players that aren't mentality monsters. Do you know what I mean? I was going to go through, and I thought, well, I'll just name the full 11 then. I think exactly. You're not. But then I think it's really important that Klopp figured out which players weren't mentality monsters, Namely, Sacco not there, Sturridge, when he just every time something had happened, be out injured for 6 weeks. And Klopp made a point. I remember him saying this. He said, "It's like, are you really injured, or are you actually injured? Do you know what I mean?"
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like basically, yeah. You're just stealing a fucking wage. Get your ass out of there. He said, "You're fine. If you really want to play, you could go through the pain barrier a little bit and play." Do you know what I mean? And then that was partly one of the reasons why he just said, we're just gonna have to let him go. So players like that, and I think there will be a few more. I mean, Lallana's another one who's a really good player, technically brilliant, and I think he didn't. Now I don't want to be too harsh on Lallana. I don't want to say he's not a mentality monster. I don't think he's mentally strong. I do think he's, but I don't think he's at the level of the rest of them.
Yeah.
And the other thing as well is I think Curtis Jones is coming through, and I think Klopp really believes in him. So I think if Lallana's still there, Curtis Jones won't be getting those opportunities. So it's just sort of making sure that pathway is there through for them as well if they're good enough.
Yeah, you mentioned that obviously they lost the final to Madrid the previous year. They came back, won the Champions League again against Tottenham. We came just second to City via point, and then came back again.
Yeah.
The only concern that you have now is there's no adversity anymore. You've won the major competitions. You've won everything at the moment. The World, European, Premier League champions.
Yeah.
They've won everything. Now, it's like you say, they've now got to dig even deeper almost because, as mentality monsters, they have got to go that extra level where the motivation is probably not what it previously was. You've got, obviously, a City team that will buy again, they'll come again. You've got Chelsea that are looking good at the moment. They might not be ready just yet. You've got an immensely hungry United side. Regardless of what we think of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, no one will be more motivated than him to obviously put a spanner in our works, but more importantly, get them a title. And all they need, I'd say, is a couple. 2-3 key signings, strong mentality, don't get injured, and and also you've got Leicester who you can never write off.
I don't know. I think it's the thinking with us. I think we'll keep going, and I think Man City will keep going is because there's that rivalry. You've got two teams. I think if we'd absolutely pissed it, and there was the team behind us won great, and they wouldn't really rival. I think there's a real rivalry now between Liverpool and Man City. And I think both of them two will continually push each other, and Guardiola will be getting his, and Klopp won't let him settle. And I think it was interesting what he said. Because it was obviously going to say it, and I think any manager would say it was. This is not the end. This is just the sort of beginning. Now we've got to continue. And he said he's on about building a legacy, and when you finish, you want people to remember what you did. You didn't just win the Champions League and Premier League. You've gone there and you've won 3-4. Do you know what I mean? Let's be a truly great Liverpool side. Do you know what I mean? And the Man United thing, I got to disagree with you. I don't think they're 2 or 3 short. I think they've got a lot. I think they've got still a lot of average players in that team.
And
I agree. I think the problem with Man United at the moment is when they play, they seem to have success against the better teams because they can just defend and hit and break. Whereas when they come up against other teams that defend a bit deeper and a bit smarter, they really do struggle, and they can't break them down. And
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I think I'm more looking on it as an as what an optimistic United fan would look at. They've got let's say Dean Henderson to come in, which I think they need to do that because his head's gone now. Maybe the back four is not too bad. They've got, I think, the 3rd best defensive record. I do think they need someone else alongside Maguire. Centre midfield, they need someone in centre midfield. But if you've got Pogba and Bruno, you just need someone like a Kante. I'd say like a Matic. Not interested. I think he's not mobile enough. And then I think they need a number 9 more than they need a Sancho, which we'll obviously speak about on later on. But yeah, I just think if they maybe brought in 3 we didn't think that we were that close, and we brought in Virgil van Dijk. So you just don't know. With luck, with injuries, they might be closer. But hey, hopefully they'll stay far away from us. For quite a bit. Yeah.
I just think that Pogba's not gonna. I can't see him being. He's had enough opportunities with that Man United team, and he's played with some decent midfielders. It's not like the totally dog shit midfielders; they're good enough. You've got to almost let him play as a 10 and give him no defensive responsibility because he gets caught out all the time. When he went at Juve, he looked good because the system Juve played suited him. They'd play a 3-5-2 with Pogba on the left-hand side of the three midfield, so you'd have Pirlo and Marchisio pretty much, Pirlo obviously going to stay in that role, Marchisio doing a lot of the donkey work. With sort of Evra on the left-hand side as well of that 3-5-2 as the wing-back, it gave him that cover, so you almost, when he didn't get back, it allowed him, the rest of the team allowed him to not work as hard defensively just to sort of cover that area when he was caught upfield. So Man United's team isn't set up like that. I know a couple of times he's trying to play 3-5-2 and get him into that position, but I don't think he's not a Man United player, and I just think if at some point I can see him going. It's fine doing the flashy tricks and stuff now and again, but it's no consistency with him. You know what I mean? And I just don't. I think Bruno Fernandes since he's come in, I think he's been really good. And you just look at him, you're thinking he's a class player. He's a Man United player. When I say Man United player, I mean the Man United when we used to, like when they were successful. That sort of. That's what. Yeah. And he could really fit in. And then apart from that, you're looking around him. McTominay's okay. Fred's okay. Do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Yeah. I'm being nice and saying okay. You got Matic is what, do you like 40 or some shit now? Do you know what I mean? He's like, you're good, and then you've got Lingard who's pretty shit. That's a nice way of putting it. And then you've got Rashford who I do rate, and they're missing. They don't have a 9. Martial wants to play on the left as well, and then you've got Daniel James who's I don't particularly. It's lightning, but that's about it. And then Mason Greenwood, I still don't see it. Do you know what I mean? If you want to play him as a 9, then fine, but don't put him on and bring him on the right side of the front three every time. Play him down the 9. Do you know what I mean? Play him as a. It's not like he's got Eric Cantona or not Cantona, like a Andy Cole or someone like that down the middle, or Van Nistelrooy or Van Persie who was nil. They've got, it's not like they've got they're really strong in that area. So I'd just be playing him down the middle. But yeah, I don't. Again, he's another one who I don't particularly. I've not seen enough of him to sort of say he's brilliant. If we continue this podcast for another 5 years. I'll have a bet with you. I still don't think they win the league by then.
Really?
Yeah, no. 2025 they won't win the league.